but yeah, by this writing books as a second language. And sorry for maybe some minor difficulties. Let's introduce ourselves first. Do you want to go first, or do I go first?
Natalia, you're muted on Discord.
Yes, but if I gotta hope that it is not give echo.
Okay.
But I don't hear echo.
Oh, sounds fine to me.
All right.
No problem.
Let us introduce ourselves first. Chrysalia, please, I'm gonna hand it over to
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Chrysalia. You can call me Chris, and I'm from Malaysia. Sorry, I couldn't open my camera. Something's wrong with it. Okay. So, yeah, that's a bit about me.
I am Natalia. I am Dutch, and I have published a few books in English, but yeah, let's go from there. Chris, why did you start writing in English instead of your own language?
That's actually a good question. I don't know. Back then, when I started writing in English, I started off with fan fiction, and I don't know when I write it in English, the words just sounds like perfect to me. Like it sounds when I try to make it dramatic, it actually sounds good. But when I actually translate it into my own native language, it sadly sounds a bit awkward in my ears. So when it sounds awkward, I don't feel like writing in my native language is English. So when I try to make it dramatic, it sounds a bit weird to me. So I prefer English because that's the main reason, which is sounds good, and another one because I try to find an appropriate audience for the content that I'm writing for. So yeah, that's the main reason I'm writing in English.
That's a very interesting. Yeah, I started to write English because you can take over the world with English writing. It is a lot easier to tell all over the world instead of your own little corner.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a little bit easier for writers of fantasy to brighten out because the English people are more in fantasy than I figured out in the Netherlands. It is a lot easier writing out you find readers.
Yeah, that's true. Like you try to write it locally, and sometimes when you write the content, like especially fantasy, in my country, fantasy is not interested by the locals as much as romance. So when you try to write it in your own native language, it's harder to take it, try to appeal to them because when you try to put fantasy in native language, it's kind of like sounds a bit weird to them. So when in English, it's much more universal, so everyone can understand.
What were the obstacles and how did we overcome them? Right.
well, my main problem with writing in English is the grammar itself. Like honestly, like you can't even grasp like the basic. I always have trouble when it comes to tenses, like when grammar for tenses. Like I write in past tense, but then the grammar is kind of like all over the place because I mix present tense and also past tense. So it confuses people a lot, which I am aware of, which I'm trying to working on trying to be better with it. But I won't give up on writing English because of grammar because it can be learned. It can be learned. So I don't have problem. So but if anything, that is my major obstacle in writing English for me. What about you, Natalia? You write a lot of books already in English. What do you always face when you do?
The same grammar. I am dyslexic, so grammar is always an obstacle for me. Even if I learn some things, it always falls flat, and that's why I usually when I go to present say something or in English, I let somebody else check it over. Um, because yeah, spelling is still a thing. But yeah, grammar and also I don't know if you have figured it out. Bless you. Uh, that some words like I use look a lot.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
look over, and look can mean so many things. But that's what Sable pointed out to me a few months ago. It can mean so many things that it is almost impossible to point something towards it. So now I'm using synonym website that can tell me where I need to go with the right words.
Well, yeah, the using the same word syndrome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
I use I use a lot of and but in my writing as well. So it mostly ended up making my sentences longer because I keep on adding but and also and when I could have just split those into two or three sentences and make them much more impactful. But yeah, when that happens, it's like dragging on, like unnecessarily dragging on by accident, and it just a moment when it's supposed to be intense is just kind of like go at the moment. So that's also my problem as well.
yeah, I find it very funny that indeed she says it is some or what that is. It is something she sees a lot in not native English speakers. That it indeed it goes on and on and on. A method that I use when I think my sentences became too long is read it out loud. And if I gasping for breath, then I know it is too long.
Ah, that's a good advice. I think I should try that. I tend not to read my own work because I'm scared to hear myself.
Yeah, or you can let if Kahuna comes back, let Kahuna read it. He can
Yeah.
normally when he reads it, I or somebody else can read it. Um, normally you figure out the things you did wrong when somebody else reads it out loud because they are coming out to the blocks that it is not really comprehensible or what to say. Then you hear the mistakes.
Yeah, having another reader would really help, especially if the reader is a native speaker, so they can point out what's wrong with your writing. Yeah.
Um, what are the tools you use to help with your English?
Tools. Actually, I don't really use any specific tools because my English is mostly self-taught, and also I watch a lot of cartoons and play games since I was a child. So I learned most of the words from there, and then learn from reading as well. Well, I do learn at school and all, but mostly it's from reading books, playing games, and watch cartoons. Also, I just pick up the words there and then play around with when I write. There's a short story on a cartoon that I love, and just learn English that way. Yeah, I don't really use tools that much. It's mostly on what I learned, what I attracted to when I was young.
Yeah, I cannot say I did the same. I came in English really late. Um, I can say, of course, you have the English movies, but in the Netherlands for children, they are um, voiced over. So you have
Oh.
a version in English and in the Netherlands uh, or in Dutch. That it made it a little bit difficult to roll in, because if you want to see a movie, just turn on Dutch and you can understand it.
Mhm.
I cannot recommend to do that after you hear the English version, because so many things are not, yeah, does not hear sound right. But it is very, yeah, how you say it is. I came very late. I think high school that I started to watch and
Hey, Siobhan.
watch and hear, listen to English only content without subtitle. So that is also something I used, because then I am really dependent to learn the words in English before
Mhm,
understanding them.
mhm. Yeah, I tend to watch certain movies or shows in English first and only that in native. I don't know why I do that. So that's why I'm more keen to English, because when I hear in my own native language, it's kind of sound off a bit, but yeah, that's how I mostly learned my English in Malaysia. In Malaysia, that's how most children learn their English that way, because it's easier.
Another tool that I use to perfect or get the little grammar mistakes that I slip in, or the spelling of some words, um, is a language tool, a sort of Grammarly that fix my um, writing beforehand, before that I have something what did I write. Um, do you use something
Yeah,
similar?
yeah, I do use Grammarly, and currently using Pro Writing 8 because, like I said, grammar is it's hard. It's still hard to grasp on, still, no matter what. So, yeah, I had to use tools like that to tell me what is correct to use at this sentence or at this tense, which is very useful. It's useful for us non-native speakers.
Yeah, we are clinging more to that sort kind of tools than I think native speakers. Native speakers, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it is sometimes very difficult, and I'm trying to learn more about the grammar English. I got a book from my old job. Um, English grammar is hard even for native English speakers. So we are we are safe.
we we can all agree that grammar is hard for everyone, regardless.
What is your process of writing in overall?
My writing process? Uh, huh. Okay. Honestly, my writing process is mostly just go in blind because I'm always a pantser. So I always just start off whatever I could think of. I just write whatever it is. Quite rare I would plot. I mean, I did some plotting, but when I plot, I don't follow. I really don't follow 100% what I wrote or planned beforehand. So most of the time, I just see a blank document, whatever blank document or blank page, and whatever comes into mind, and I just write whatever I could think of at that moment. What about you, Natalia? Since you've written so much.
Uh, well, I'm I'm more of yeah, Panzer plotter. I'm a little bit more in between. I heavily gonna hang more to the plotter side than to the Panzer side. But that is that deviates um, per book, book. Um, the last one I wrote, well, pensing, completely pensing. I found myself stuck, so that I needed to plot ahead or pick the story beats that I got and go on from there. But it very deviates per book.
Yeah, that's how the Panzer life works.
Mm.
And yeah, Siobhan, I try to do plot points like I because you once mentioned that you do plot points for your book and you try to expand from your plot points. I tried doing that and I ended up deviate entirely from what I've written and it became a different kind of thing and it's really frustrating for me. I can't be a pantser even though I try to be a plantser, try to be a both of it and I still can't. I still go to the pantser side and well, you know what happens in NaNoWriMo 2021.
Yep.
Oh my god. Oh, Dragoness, you learned English by watching anime? Yeah, I did that before. I watch it in Japanese and then read entirely in English subtitle. And honestly, the English subtitles as well have really interesting words they use. So yeah, that's why I learned English as well.
Yeah. Uh, what can I say about anime? I
Yeah, I
usually
don't know. I mean, maybe not anime. Like
yeah.
what kind of cartoons you watch or movies that have subtitles?
I watch anime. Pokemon is still a very big in the Western culture. Especially when you can say that every time they hit the repeat button, so every generation learns about Pokemon. Uh,
Ah, yes.
and of course, eerst the sub the dubbed version, and then we go over to the dub version English.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. There is.
The other around the few anime that I watched purely in English, in Japanese, and then with English subtitles was One Piece, which I very liked. I stopped watching them at the point, but yeah, you learn a lot about English to watch that kind of stuff. You can read it, you can see it, and you get being entertained by it. So much easier to learn English that way because you are entertained and
That's true.
That kind, yeah, entertained. Then you learn English in what I believe in a stuffy classroom where you have something from I need to learn this. Why do I need to learn
Mm-hmm.
this? When do I use it? And when you get in real life and watch indeed that kind of stuff or hear that kind of stuff, you have something from, oh yeah, that's why I need to learn this because it makes my life so much easier.
That's true.
Uh, I know you have written some enormous books, not yet published,
Not yet. Yeah.
not yet. Um,
Mhm.
are you planning to publish your English work? And if yes, are you going to do self-publishing or are you going to approach an agent in America to publish there?
I mean, I do think about publishing the book. I mean, that is my biggest dream. Of course, every writer's dreams is to have their books published regardless. And I really want to. But yeah, I've been, as for whether it's traditional or self-publishing, I'm still researching my options still because I've seen some. Mm, some of us self-publish. Some of us have an agent to publish their books, and there are like ups and downs for each of them. But I think I am more appealed to self-publishing because I have a lot of books to. I have a lot of books to write and also release, and I don't think having an agent is good for me, especially mentally, because I don't like being pressured. I don't like being pressured to like work on a new project immediately after you finish one and being rushed as much. So yeah, I think I'm if anything, self-publishing is a more likely option for me. Natalia, what about you? I'm curious that yes, you always self-publishing. Why won't you like traditional publish?
I've been traditionally published with a book that I wrote in Dutch, and that was my first publishing experience, and
Oh,
it didn't land well.
oh
uh,
no.
yeah, that's why I deviated to self-publishing in English.
Hmm,
Because it was
okay.
a bit of an hiccup that didn't sit well with me. Um, Instead of giving, what you expect from a publishing house is you get. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you. Ah, that's my dyslexia. Dyslexia.
Yes.
But because I'm dyslexic, I can not see a lot of writing mistakes. That is
Mm,
completely normal. And
mhm,
when I um, when I thought I go to a publisher, they have editors in it's in the house. Um, I need to edit myself, of course, but um,
mhm.
I expected an edit letter with everything from this. Here is here you did wrong. This is what you wrong. That's wrong. That's or you need to do that. That comes over a much more convincing. And I didn't
Mhm.
receive that. I just received an edit letter from literally this long. That
Mhm.
this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and go from there.
Huh. Doesn't sound a bit. Doesn't sound like really tell you what to do.
No,
Ouch.
Yep. And when I hear from English American published houses, you get that kind of letter. If I go to an editor in our community, I get the same thing. I get a completely marked out from there. You place the comma wrong, or that word is misspelled, like she just pointed out. I didn't receive that, so yeah. That I am writing also purely English, and heavily rely on an editor. If I need to do it myself, then I can publish independently, because then I know I need to do it myself. There's no
Yeah,
one.
it really does. Yeah, it really does like force you to do things on your own, but it also helps like gives you a head start. Like you because you do it on your own, you are being more careful with what you're doing.
Yeah, and in the end, I know that I am responsible for my own books, and if I need to do it myself, like I know to do it by myself, then I know what to do beforehand.
That's true.
Yeah, and if we go to the editing process, what do you use for editing? Besides, of course, reaching out to our fellow writers or editors.
I happen to have I don't have any editors or any beta readers as of now, but I if you were back when Kahuna was still active, I always had him like try to get him to read some of the early chapters of my book, Winter of Ashes. And that's how I when he pointed out some places that sounds awkward or doesn't sound like it fits there, if he I would try to edit it as how he would as per to his feedback. So after that, when he said like, "Oh, it sounds perfect," and then I knew that I understood what he asked and I understood what he thinks is best. So that's how I do my editing, mostly from other people's feedback. I think that's the best thing for me, at least for me. That is because I need to know from a reader's perspective, like what do they think is good, or if to them what they need, what they want to see in the book, in my book at least. So usually that's how my editing would go. I would listen to people's feedback first before I do any editing.
Yeah, me too. I stream, of course, my writing in stream. So a lot of native English speakers tend to join my stream and try to point out the mistakes that I make during the writing. I don't point any fingers to somebody, Siobhan. But also everybody.
You got called out.
Yeah, but I ask for it. It improves my
That's true.
writing, and it helps me to tackle the mistakes. If I see them again, I know that I need that to word that otherwise, or pronounce that otherwise, or put a comma somewhere else. And I'm happy that people are giving me that advice while I'm writing or when I'm editing or something like that. Because it makes it life so much easier when you learn along the way and you know, right, I need to spell that, I need to do that, mark that somewhere and place that in another category or store it somewhere in the brain and make that change go forward. Not that I'm completely flawless. I still pick up books from myself and I read it and I said, what have I done?
Hmm. So you prefer sort of a live feedback, people?
Yeah, I'm writing. Yeah, that I figured out is some published books. But yeah, I love live feedback so that I can correct my mistakes when I'm writing. It makes also editing much easier because I know the mistake is not there.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
I mean, it's better to point it out now before the next process comes, right?
yep. But as Siobhan also pointed out, there are some books published from that I published, and there are still a little bit of still mistakes in that. But let's face it, some published book by publishing houses have those mistakes as well.
True, I have a collection. I could tell you which some books that I could point out which books that have the mistakes.
Yep. Uh,
Mhm.
I got them right there, a few. And those have indeed also mistakes. Yeah, that's just one cabinet. I got there another cabinet full of books. Very. Um, Speaking of our written stories, what kind of stories do we write in English? Let's do a little bit of shameless self promote.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is the difficult part.
I don't know how to promote myself. Why don't you start first, Natalia? How do you promote yourself?
Well, I am a sci-fi and I'm sci-fi and fantasy author. I've like we said, I have written a few books. I'm almost touching and published a few books. I'm almost touching, I think, the 10. Do I touch the 10?
Oh, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I need to count.
Fantasy. Fantasy. What kind of fantasy? What book that is missing 3 chapters? Oh my
What?
god. Fantasy said that there's a professionally published book that is missing about 3 chapters in the middle of it, as in not printed, not torn
How?
out, they were left out.
How is that possible?
They did not check. Oh my god. And should we know what name? I never. You don't have to tell us.
You know what?
Dude.
I think this is easier. 2, 3, 4,
Oh my god,
5,
my
6, 7,
that's a lot of
8.
books, Natalia. My god,
8.
that is a lot, and I don't know why, but I am proud to see this much links, even though it's not mine. But it is a lot of books here. I am proud. Not gonna lie.
I've got 8 books published, and there are 2 more on the way. So at the end of the year, I got 10 books published.
Woo!
And
Ooh,
then
that's
I gotta slow
awesome.
down.
I what's stopping you? Public for?
Well, I need to point out that most of the books that I've written was during the COVID pandemic, the first year, so in 2020. And most
You
of
got
those
a burst of inspiration.
a burst of inspiration, and I didn't need to work.
True.
It made it a lot easier. Um,
Hmm. Don't need to work, and all you do is just writing every day.
Yeah, I did almost every day. I took a few breaks because mental health is a thing, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to burn myself out. But yeah, and I think I've grown in my English from the first book, the Book of Secrets, to Black
Mhm.
Swan a lot.
Congrats.
It is there's still mistakes in there. I cannot
Mhm.
lie, but sometimes you get blind by your own writing, or you think you fixed it and you made it maybe even worse. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
it's still a few things that I need
Well,
to
then
fix.
again, you've been writing like for what? Like you really genuinely have fun writing. So mistakes was the last thing you thought. So you're just like, oh, I finished this book. I finished the story. I can publish it now. Yay! Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, at some
Yeah,
point you
that's
only
that's
see
true.
what you want to have on the page and don't know what's longer there. That's why if I written a story, I print it out. This is the pre-edit version, and I read it in book form.
Nice.
That helps because you see it in a different format.
Mhm.
Just print it out, and you find the mistakes. Uh, for those who are curious, I don't write in those. There are artists who write
Mhm.
in their pre-edit copies. I do not. I don't like the written stuff in my books. I,
Oh, nice.
I really hate it. So it is pristine cream paper. I don't know why, but I like cream. Easier for my eyes. You have some
Mhm.
authors who prefer white paper instead of cream.
Yeah.
And I find that when I read a book with white paper, that my eyes started to hurt a lot earlier than when I read it on cream paper. Funny.
Yeah, and also the texture just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like an actual book, you know? Like if it's cream paper, there's like a certain texture, like a really sort of like a little bit rough when you touch it, and it feels like an old tome, you know? So you love holding it. But when it's white paper, it's just white and just paper. Like there's nothing fun about it.
Oh, but yeah, that is something a tool that helps me to edit. I point out Black Swan because it is the one of the latest my latest book. I really should do now continue editing Flaming Arrow. Comes
Mhm.
out in August. Oh, 1 month. What is 1 month? I edited one in 2 weeks. Don't do that, please, people. Don't do that. It's not good for your mental health. A statement. Take time to edit, but I perform better when I need to rush edit.
Yeah, but better not rush, especially when your English is your second language. You
Yep.
need someone to take time to edit it, and also have someone else.
To read it, get some fresh eyes. Let's point someone out. I think it is time for a break for 15 minutes before we continue, and I need to come up with some new questions.
Yeah.
Um, so 15 minutes, and then we'll be back with you.
Yay. Okay, I'm back. Mhm. Yep.
Maybe a little bit sooner than or later than planned. Procedure forgot to. Uh, um, right. Dragons. Yeah. We you know that we are on that subject. I'm happy to repeat. Um, we are here for give information, and if even when I'm still writing my normal screen, I'm happy to give information. I myself use the free version language because I got by using Grammarly for Dutch. That it does not touch Dutch. It is very Steve recommending that you have a program that does not have Dutch. When it is your native language. But I still use it now for when I write English. But it is indeed I use the free version, so it is not very direct. It still gives me a warning when I use have a mistake that is put out in the version. It still gives me a warning that it's a mistake in the. I need to fix it. I only need to find out what it is.
Uh, Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I do use Grammarly before. I used Grammarly, but because Grammarly is much more restricted to formal writing mostly, so I changed to pro writing because it's much more flexible when you try to write creatively in fiction. So now I use pro writing, but like coffee and citrus, yeah, they're okay for fiction, okay to catch the obvious mistakes, but if you want to go deeper, you will have to pay. But if anything, but if anything, I prefer pro writing more because it's flexibility for fiction writing.
And Grammarly is officially built in a professional workplace like schools, offices, that kind of stuff. That's also where it's advertised for. And what I figured out, it is also very expensive. For what you, I do the exact number, but I don't know what pro writing aids cost. It's very I find it very for a tool that does not work for creative writing. What we said is she used ProWriting. It's more flexible for creative writing in English. But you have to dig up what you find acceptable for a tool like that. My internet is not ready for me to use Discord and the streaming tool that I'm using. My internet is not ready. So it is maybe not your computer, but I heard it is a common problem. During the conduit, because we are all using.
I visited the mythology one, and it also had was a bit lucky on my end as well.
So if there are issues, we only cancel them at the moment.
We're sorry about that. We can't really do much.
But yeah, what my tip is that's usually what our first point is what we are in. My other point on the list was for writers. If you want to use a writing tool like Grammarly, Pro and Language tool, that kind of stuff that cuts your grammar. Use the free version. If the free version is to your liking, look then to the base stuff, and if you find it acceptable, then you can decide if you want to do paid version of the program. If not, you can always change tactics and use another tool. But my obvious choice is free version first. If it's not liking, change.
I mean, that's for any tools, any platforms or to publish your works or do editing.
Yeah.
Just personal, then only then you consider you.
Yeah, I tried. And not only that, but also it's nice for all those for writing. Like if you, some people love writing Google Docs, some love to write in script of Word and Envelope, some use Scrivener for writing. Use version free tool. Then go over to the base version you want. And for Word and Envelope is base version already. That is yeah. I don't use it personally, but I hear good things about it over pro writing.
I mean, if I think pro writing is a better alternative to Grammarly. I would like to have that pro writing 8. But yeah, like I say, it's pro writing 8. It's much better for fiction writing, in my opinion. So yeah, fun using it.
My other tip for writing is for other writers who want to use English as a second language is write. Write as much as you can. Let other people read your writing. At least also native speakers, but I can catch the native that sometimes it's more handy to point out that the native speaker pointed out directly to. Another tip what I can do is say is if you are comfortable with this, stream it online. Which has what we discovered this weekend is Twitch has a lovely writers community. They can help. They really can.
I'd be more than happy to help because you just have to ask around one that to take a look at your work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I know what you mean, Dragon Nia. It is very daunting because it is a new language. If it's your native language, it is a new language. And even when you have a degree, I think an English degree, it is still difficult to write or to write English.
I can testify that I I have a degree in English language studies, and yeah, even when you learn English, you would struggle, but that doesn't mean you can't like go on and keep on learning because language always changes.
Yeah.
So there's always needs to
And
learn English.
and like I said, the only thing the best thing you can do in English is write English. Write it. Only then you can improve. What do you want to do to improve English more?
Honestly, it's mostly writing and also reading. Now I pick up reading again, so I just spend my money buying all the books that went viral on TikTok, and, and just like learn, just like pick up inspirations from mostly is fantasy. So I pick up inspiration from the world building, so their English, how they incorporate the language in their world and all that stuff. So I definitely when I learn the words because each book are different and each authors are different in the usage of English. So I try to incorporate that in my world and also in my writing as well. So it's an interesting process. A lot of books that I don't understand, I just like highlight them and search out the meaning up on the internet or the dictionary and then write them down somewhere or remember it by heart.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my way. What about you, Natalia?
Um, something I want to do, only have money for it, is what I really want to do is pick up the yeah, I really pick up studies English. Before making closing anything, the only thing I hope right now is Discord and my streaming program. If I close any of them, I have a problem. I won't be streaming. Oh,
Oh no.
sorry.
Sorry.
It is also to be productive.
That's true. Really doesn't like a lot.
I post about that. I cannot post anything of streaming. Yeah, I think it will because I use this stream also to videos of myself. So I never found it any difficulty. So yeah, I want to go back to college or or home college or study to improve my English. And I also can edit. It is also
you can learn English as well and then do it on the side of editing.
Yeah, because it brings a little bit of income, extra income. It's also fun. But I also do to improve English, and I know it is very, very rough for me. I have an app with audiobooks. I find more difficult these days with when you are busy or when you work. Grab a book and read, even in the commute. Sometimes you are very busy, so you can grab your book and start reading. I'm listening to a lot of books. I already improved my reading from last year, which I said on 6 books, and now I have 23. I improved that a lot. I only used to listen to English books now. I really don't read Dutch, but I guess from wait, it's strange.
Yeah, I also read some Malay books as well, but even that the ratio would be like 1 book per 2 English books, usually like that. There needs to be that balance because in the end, Malay sounds so weird. I can't, especially when it's dramatic.
Yeah. Well, during my holiday, I read the Storm and Fury, and for the title, I go from English and open, and I saw the Dutch. I still read Roman. I still it was 2 days, nothing more, and I said, "Oh shit, I don't have a book." So I went over the listening books, and then I got a lot of more reading done. But I got a textbook also. I only figured out that there are 3 books. I don't have the first one. But I figured out that I'm using it. I got the first one in English, listening book, an audiobook. So I can use that. But yeah, maybe that is also something I want to improve writing. That is a part of view. Is I want to look up for audiobooks. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but they are expensive.
Oh, yeah, you could pay for the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not equipped to do it myself.
I mean, it would be nice though. You hear something to your book.
Yeah, I think it is also giving you an opportunity to talk to more audience because I know I was skeptical about audiobook, but I've used it and listened to it, and it makes so much sense. It's a whole other relationship than you have in your original one. But it's very expensive. Very
Unfortunately.
Are there any more questions from the audience? Because I did out questions and I came out blank. Very blank.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, we almost started. We have an hour.
Not true. Yeah.
Minutes.
Unless the audience have questions.
Yes. If they can hear.
Hopefully they can hear.
Not making a mistake. Oh, making a mistake. Making the same mistake. Like I said, learning from your mistakes.
Learning from other people's feedback.
Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up with self-change promoting. So it's promoting.
Yes. The only way to end things.
Shameless.
So with your
I think not. Relationship. All right. Go over to shameless promoting, but why not?
she was not promoting.
I always recommend go listen or visit Nalia's Twitch channel when she and also give her a follow.
Oh, there's a
How long ago did you start learning English? Great. This way.
How long ago did I start learning English? Oh, exactly can't tell when I start learning English. I can tell I learned since I was a child. But maybe I guess in kindergarten because my kindergarten teacher said my English was good. I actually gave a full English at age at 7 years old. So I guess from there I picked up English and start back in elementary. I don't like English because of grammar and all that. Then in high school, then I actually learn English properly. And only then I fell in love with the language. And since then, well, this is my English now. I guess.
Yeah, I started a little bit later. You get English in grade school. Yeah, we have kindergarten, grade school, high school. Yeah, it's strange. But I got in the 7th grade it is another system as America or in every other country I came across. But yeah, we call it 7 grades here. We English for the first time. Very sporadic, only word study. It was very boring. Um, my English, my interest for English came at high school, and actually, exactly enough in the last year of high school.
Oh.
Yeah, because I had a teacher who actually liked giving teach to give people English, and I we have several grades of learning courses at high school, and he was teach he was used to teach college students. So in the last year of my high school, we had a college study of English. With every week we got a test on the art of English, words, or what. He even didn't look. He even corrected me. He didn't let me. He didn't take away from me when I misspelled it because he knew I was dyslexic. But he explained, "This is how you write it. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again." And he loved to explain it over and over again in English. In his classroom, we didn't hear another language than English. So it was more easier to learn that when I got out of high school. I kept in touch with this teacher. I still do. He's even one of the best readers. And, yeah, in school, on the university, I got English from an English woman. They also gave very good English, but it was a little bit sad that unfortunately in one of the years they dropped English for us. I had 1 year at college that I didn't have English because I added a teacher for it.
Oh.
And I complained about it because I did animal care, and I studied animal care. If you go to a zoo or even a pet farm or something like that, you need to have English, or even in a pet shop, you need to have English because not all your customers are Dutch, or not all visitors are Dutch. You need to have English under your belt.
Mhm.
And the second year we got English back, so I was happy. But yeah, that is education.
Mhm.
But I think as improved with English, we now start. Some schools are even start children English in kindergarten. Because even I'm gonna point out, I think it's very important that even young children know and understand English language.
Yeah.
Very pretty, a little bit too late.
I'm seeing sure you can say when I was a kid, I'm curious to know what you found most challenging, which you learn about writing ESL.
I think we touched it, but I'm happy with it. Well, minutes, so what I find most challenging was the grammar. That was something I knew that would be difficult, but no, yeah, it's I also difficult for words to find words in the right places and use. For instance, I'm gonna back to look, which what I use a lot. Or look or walk. They are phrases that are perfectly transferred to English, to Dutch, or every other language. But in English, you also have some other words or look. So that's something that I want to know sooner. I know we're fixing that as well. Chris.
What I would love to also, other than grammar, which is quite obvious, I would love to know about, I don't know why, but English always have like specific rules when using tenses, like certain tenses or certain verbs to be like for I, you need to have instead of has, and you use have as something like that. And there are certain rules for that, and it takes me a while to understand why specifically they need to have these kind of rules, and we could just go ahead and put whatever because tense and past tense and past tense is like something like that. But at the end of the day, the only way that I learn about these things is that better not question its existence. Just do whatever was cool. Otherwise, I would love to know beforehand when I write in English as my second language or speak or when I speak in English. Those kinds of weird language rules have or weird English words that they have nowadays. I don't know. I mean, I'm kidding, but even when I look at English, I feel so old for some reason.
Yeah, rules are best not English.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes you don't need to
Yeah,
think about it.
what I think what I really think is of course you learn in English if you are not a native speaking, is learn how to write an official letter in English. What I forget is that not of course that is important. I think some students will also help if they need to write maybe a short story in English. They touch upon another aspect of the English language and maybe made it fun. Yeah, everybody learns more and better when they have fun.
That's true.
All right. We have 6 minutes left. Let's go back to the shameless self-promoting. I was saying, go over to Chris' platform of Ample, read her world. Go visit her. She is live on Twitch. She is an amazing streamer, very kind. very fun. And yeah, give her a follow and give her work like on Anvil. I drop out links to her world and to her channel in the chat. Amazing person. What you heard, she is free. So, in my opinion, young and energetic person. But yeah, give her a follow. And I'm also self-promoting for myself, of course. Me on Twitch, you are already here, so click the follow button if you haven't. If you want to know more about me and my books, there is my website in the chat. I probably had used the comma there, but I also have a World Anvil website that I didn't look up beforehand, and I'm not gonna do it right now. But I believe it is in the description of my channel. So yeah. Do you want to say anything more, Chris? Did I forget something?
Good question. Did you forget something? I think you covered enough. Yeah. I don't think there's anything you forgot.
Well, then I am officially gonna wind it up for us. Thank you for all for being here, being on this channel. I want to thank Chris for also being here and stick with me. I hope that the VOD comes a bit more smoothly than we have than it had that the stream has. Again, my apologies for the hiccups. Nothing I can do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My first language is Dutch. I'm Dutch. But thank you for asking. Good question. Thank you for asking. I wish you all a happy day. I am back tomorrow with a panel or class on retellings, and I will see you then. Have a nice day, a nice time zone, and for those who are in and for those who are willing to go to bed, good night. We're gonna rate
Good night, everyone.
over, and I'm afraid to do this, but I'm opening another internet for the Twitch for rating over to the CONduit channel. Ooh.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
All right. We're going to lunch. Also, thank you for the moderators. Those on the other end of the screen and those who are in my living room. And I will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.